Okay, we're started.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Phil Piers. I'm the chair of the DSSD. I'm going to call the meeting to order. We are recording the session and it is being streamed on Zoom. The recording will be added to our YouTube channel. You can search for Colorful Bridgeport on youtube.com. If you are participating over Zoom and you want to ask a question, you can send it through the chat with an email address so we can follow up with a response. We will try to take questions at the end of the meeting if there is time. We have several committees and we're always looking for new blood to join them. We have a special events and marketing committee, which is a really good way to get involved. We also have a public safety committee. So if you're interested in joining us in any way, please reach out to Warren, our president. I'd like to invite Gary up to introduce us to the Bijou and kick things off.
Hi, everybody. Just a quick thanks for coming. It's very nice to see people in the theater again. It's been quite a while, as you can imagine. A lot of stuff coming up. We're kind of crawling back to life here. I'll just take a quick second to do a quick commercial, if you don't mind. This fall, we have a lot of bands that I've already scheduled, a lot of tribute bands, Michael Jackson and Tom Petty, Chicago, Santana, all these great tribute bands. A lot of these bands you can't see anymore, and the ones that are still playing, quite frankly, they're so old. Some of the tribute bands are better than me by now. But again, thanks for coming. For people that are here, the bar is not officially open, but if someone needs some chips, some snacks, and a beer or a glass of wine, happy to help you out. I'll be floating around, and thanks for coming.
Okay, so we're called to order. We are going to now go through the role of the prosecutors in the district, which is probably the least exciting part of the meeting. We have to do it. We have many folks that were registered by proxy beforehand, and we have other people that we know are here. I'm not going to read those names. I'm only going to read the names that we're not sure if they're here or whether they've attempted to submit a vote. Shelbourne Lafayette LLC. If you're here, I guess if you're here in person, just shout it out. If you're on Zoom, send a message in the chat so that Lauren can make a note that you're participating. 78 Elm Street LLC. Here. Okay. James Pajura. Barnum House Associates Limited. Joan Benedetto. 1070 Hotel LLC. Okay, 109 Wall Street LLC. Okay, thanks. Fairfield and Middle Associates. Yep. Fairfield and Middle LLC. That's me. Fairfield Avenue Plaza. No. Okay. Maine and Fairfield Associates. That's me. Okay, they're back on now. Clay RMG. Here. Here. Okay. 10 Middle LLC. Here. Transit Center Associates LLC. Also here. CBDB LLC Transmark.
Oh, that's Time Equity.
Oh, okay.
And they're on.
They're on
here.
Zoom.
Yep, present.
166 Elm Street LLC. Here. 245 Fairfield Avenue LLC. Here. 262 Fairfield Avenue LLC. Here. 263 Golden Hill Street LLC. Here. 277 Fairfield Avenue LLC. Here. 323 Fairfield Avenue LLC. Here.
Shelbourne, the first one, is also present in the chat.
Okay, great. Capitan Associates with a K. Murphy's Law LLC. 211 State Street LLC. Baisley JV LLC. 1021 Main Street LLC. Fair Broad LLC. Harold J. Levy and Michelle Levy. 76 Line Terrace LLC. 815 Lafayette Center LLC. Block 912 JV LLC. Aquarium Water Company of Connecticut. Northeast Stone Storage LLC. Art Space Bridgeport Limited. 64 Lion Terrace LLC. 295 Congress LLC, 31 Cannon Street LLC, 333 State Street Dev LLC, 95 Chapel Street LLC, Henry Adams, AT&T Capital Services, EFS Retail and Commercial, Broad and Golden LLC, Bulldog Management, Francisco Carrion, Eastern USA Realty, Fairfield Avenue Plaza, GJS Properties, James Gaston, Golden Hill Living, Golden Hill Square, Bill Gouveia and Maria Gouveia, Hoffman Fuel Company, JCP Rentals, King's Dragon Investments LLC, Mark Krasnow, Love Acapulco LLC, Maresca Robert and Salvatore, Nutmeg Adjusters Inc., Park City Redevelopment Group, Elena Pride, Red LLC, SCAP Giza, SCAP Motors Inc., Seaside Realty LLC, Sethi Sanjeet, Shore Winds Number 41 Cannon Street LLC, Southern New England Telephone, Stratford Apartments LLC.
The last one should be the condo.
We have our condominium. Samuel Ando, Margarita Barrow, Matthew Barber.
Lauren.
Yep.
This is Denise. I can barely hear you. This is
Okay.
to the Councilwoman Taylor Moore, and I can barely hear anything. It's all blurred.
Okay,
What is she saying?
we will try to speak up.
Is there
Okay,
a
all right, thank you.
microphone picking up for the Zoom?
It's coming.
Oh, is it?
Mhm.
John Petrella, Magda and Manuel Romero Campuzano, Dawson Crawford, Peter and Martha D'Adamo, Gossett Daly, Mark and Patricia Downs, Valero Fernandez, William Figueroa, Christopher Foreman, Heidi Grosbeck, Pablo Hernandez, Nicholas Voldomnak, Jeffrey Holtz, Ali Jaffrey, Comer Americas Inc., Chris Kotze, J. Junior Latour, Catherine Lee, Anthony Mecca, Maria Michael, Jamie Nemchek, Atul Kumar and Vishad Pandya, Jose Pizarro, Gary and Christina Repetto, Christina Sandolo, Jairo Sandoval, Charles Smith, Spencer Spagnoli, Annalisa Stockwell, Shelley Strom, Julie Thompson, Eric Whitland, Claude Yen, Maria and Philip Zangara. That is, I think, the end of the list.
Yep.
Okay.
That is it.
Okay, so the next. Proof of service on owners. So packets were sent out in mid-May by first-class mail, and instead of sending a single ballot to each property owner, we sent packages in groups to property owners that own more than one property. We have, I'm not sure which. Oh, we have notices of the annual meeting that were sent out along with a description of the district and our district map and a thumbnail sketch of our budget, along with the ballot, explanation of the ballot process, a proxy statement, and a report for our financial report. So with that, I think the next step is to establish a quorum, which we do have, according to Lauren. So there are 174 properties in the taxing district. Of that list, 38 are condo units in 881 Lafayette. So they get one vote collectively as one property. So we need at least 70 properties present to constitute a quorum. And we know how many we have?
Right now,
Yeah.
I'll know as soon as I get
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay. So
And we did ask people to send in their ballots if they haven't done so.
yes. So if people have not already handed in their ballots, now's the time to do so. Please either bring them up, or how are we doing it electronic?
Email them.
Or email them to Lauren. If you need the email address, shout it out in the chat and we'll
put it in the
get it
chat.
to you.
Mhm.
The next item on our agenda is the approval of our minutes from our April 17, 2021 regular meeting. Does anyone on the board have any edits to the minutes?
Make a motion to approve minutes.
Okay, any further discussion on the minutes? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the minutes are approved. Next, we have our election of the commissioners. So under our bylaws, we have a 9-member board that's elected by the property owners in the district to manage the district and set our budget. We also have an ex officio member who's the mayor, and the mayor has appointed Danny Roche to that position. Every 3 years, every year, 3 commissioners are up for a 3-year term. Only the holders of record or taxable properties are allowed to participate in the district, and each property is entitled to 1 vote in the district. If the property is owned by an entity, they can appoint someone to represent themselves. So at this meeting, we are electing 3 members that will serve from June 2021 to June 2024. There are 3 members on the board whose terms are expiring. Those are Carolyn Egbert, Eric Gross, and David Iasagna. Any owner may nominate someone for a position to the board by completing a nomination form, which is included in the mailing, or by being present today and nominating at the meeting. I guess at this point we take the nomination. So were there any nominations by mail other than those that were, other than the 3 commissioners who are up for re-election? Okay. Seeing none, are there any other individuals for nomination at this time? Nothing in the room, anything in the chat?
Not yet.
Any nominations from anyone in Zoom world? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the nominations.
Make a motion to close the nominations.
Yeah. There,
Second.
okay. All in favor? Okay. Any opposed? Okay. Now we will oversee the counting of the ballots, which
Bob and I will go sit right
Okay.
there and count them. And just, again, if anyone is emailing their ballots, if they could do that right now to lauren.dssd@infobridgeport.com. Thank you.
And I guess if anyone else is nominated on a ballot that we receive, that we treat that as a ballot nomination, even though we just go into closed nominations from the floor. Okay, so the next item on the agenda while that is being tabulated, we have several community presentations. The first is from the City of Bridgeport Office of Economic Development. And Tom Gill is going to give that presentation. I believe he's over Zoom.
Thank you for inviting me. And let me start by just saying thank you to Lauren and her staff for their continued help and cooperation. We enjoy a very good partnership. They do a great job and we appreciate it very much. In spite of the COVID pandemic, we've been able to navigate fairly well and keep projects moving forward. And Lauren had given me a list of the projects that she'd like some input on. So let me begin with the Intermodal. As you know, that project's been around quite a while. The OPED department took it over about 2 years ago. And I'm happy to say that on phase 1, the contractor's been selected. And we expect construction to start in 30 days. Relative to the phase 2, that's in design and is being worked on right now. On the Pequannock River Bike Trail, contractor's also been selected there. And we expect that construction to start in June of this year. and it will begin on the north side of the project and work its way down. The sliver on the river, as you know, we put an RFP out on that, and a proposal from Briar Patch Oyster was selected. And then they were impacted by COVID and had to put things on hold. I'm pleased to say that they're back, and they've even expanded the project to include other shellfish vendors. So we're excited that they're back, and we're looking forward to getting that project moving with them. The high-speed ferry project, the bid prices came in very high when that was put out to bid. So the project is being redesigned. We're doing some value-added engineering, and we expect to bid that project, or the Port Authority expects to bid that project out in July of this year. The Hartford Healthcare Amphitheater. I think we could all see what's going on down there. It's really quite exciting. And the roof panels, as you can see, are going on now and being installed. I don't know if any of you had the opportunity to tour it at all. It's a phenomenal project. And they're going to be opening in mid-June for the first concert series for this year. The bike rack installation, I don't have a lot on that. I know we received a grant for about 5 to 8 bike racks around the city. There's supposed to be one downtown, and I know they're working through the grant requirements now. On the Congress Street Bridge, that's at 100% design, and it's in the permit processing stage right now. And we're looking for a fall 2021 construction beginning, assuming that the permits are in place. It's a tedious endeavor getting permits from the federal government and state, but it's moving along very nicely, and we're optimistic that construction can start this fall. The Stratford Avenue Bridge, state is going to be doing improvements and modifications to the existing bridge. And that project is scheduled for spring of 2023. And there'll be a series of public meetings and input relative to that project. Lafayette Circle, that's at 60% design. And the design slowed down because there were changes that were needed relative to sewer separation downtown, so that you could have the sanitary and the water source separated. Final design and obtaining permits, that's the goal for 2021, with construction to follow in the spring of 2022. The zone Bridgeport, that draft is going to be released next week. We're looking at a public meeting in June, and then looking to submit it to the Planning and Zoning Committee in August. On Complete Streets, a draft of that manual has been completed. It's being reviewed by staff, and then once their comments are incorporated, it'll be made available for public review. The shared mobility, we've been negotiating with Lynx. We're into some insurance discussions with them. And once we have those resolved, which we're optimistic that we can get them resolved, there should be rollout within days after that's done. On some of the projects downtown, Congress Plaza, that's the John Getz's project. It's 92 units with parking underneath and retail. When we did the site remediation, there was additional contamination that was found. And right now we're in procurement to have that put out to bid to remove that pile of dirt that's there. So John, he's got foundations in so that he can continue with the project. Unfortunately, you know, in downtown and other parts, many years ago, they used fill from all over, and when you do start the development, there are definitely issues with the ground. Jason Newfield is basically completed. As you can see, they're outfitting for the new brewery. We are about to begin sidewalk work around Jason Newfield. And then we'll be moving across the street to where the preservation block was, now called Post Office Square. And we'll be putting all the sidewalks in there. And then the building that was remaining, we're working to finalize and improve that building, that wall, so that we can then complete all of the sidewalks along Middle Street also. The little Dillon building in front of, or right next to the Jason Newfield project, we're transferring that property to Mark Reed. They are going to do a historic restoration of that building with 5 apartment units and some small retail in there. And lastly, the AGI site, we had a committee selection for the RFPs that were out. There's an internal recommendation by the selection committee, and that's for a mixed use proposal with waterfront initiatives. And I think that covers all of them. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have them, if I can. But other than that, I thank you very much.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Including people on Zoom, we can take questions through the chat. Okay, seeing none. Thanks, Tom. The next committee presentation is from Captain Roderick Porter from the Bridgeport Police Department. I believe he's also presenting over Zoom.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Good afternoon. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, you are.
Okay. First, I'd like to thank you guys for inviting me. I'm actually, this is new to being the captain in this area. Some years ago, I was the captain in the Central Command, but I've been away for some time now, and I'm excited to be back working with you guys. It's been really a pleasure in the last couple of months working with Lauren and the other individuals from the DSSD, and I look forward to it. Had I known we could come in person, I would have made arrangements to be there in person. I much rather do this in person, so hopefully in the near future, we'll be able to do this in person. Just to go over a couple of things in terms of crime as it relates to, I'll go over the city as well as downtown. First, I'll start with downtown where we have much better information. Our downtown district, which covers our Amber 21 post, the crime has been, over the last couple of months, it's been really minimal. Over the last week, there was one burglary. But other than that, downtown, we've been doing pretty well in terms of actual crime. We have had some issues with, and this is mainly in the evenings, with some of the businesses staying open in some of their crowds, some noise complaints and some parking complaints. At one of our meetings, we had a coffee with a cop. I did speak to a couple of residents as well as some businesses, and we're hoping that we can get some voluntary compliance. We would rather not have to take any enforcement, but we're hoping that there could be a happy medium between some of the residents and some of the businesses as it relates to noise and parking issues. But if need be, we will get involved. So overall crime for year to date has been down throughout the city. Overall, our overall crime is down 11% compared to this time last year. Week to date in the 28-day period compared to last year, we do have some slight increases in terms of we are up in our robberies and our assaults, and we are actively putting some proactive details to address the robberies as well as some of the assaults. One of the challenges that we are facing downtown in the evenings, which is our 3 to 11, 4 to 12 shift, and then our midnight to 8 shift, is we are trying to find ways to increase our presence downtown. And with our manpower shortages, we are going to look in the next week or so. We're going to be looking to adjust and reallocate some officers to so we can have a constant, consistent presence downtown. That is our goal for the coming weeks for downtown. A couple other things I want to address that I know have been of concern, not only downtown, but throughout the city. The quads or dirt bikes or whatever you want to refer to them as, that has been a problem, mainly on the weekends. It's more of a nuisance. We have had some reports where they've had some aggressive behavior towards some other motorists. So we are in the process, and hopefully we're going to be rolling it out this weekend, a proactive enforcement detail to try and combat some of the issues with the dirt bikes and the quad. So we are going to be introducing that this weekend. Another issue that we've been having, not so much downtown, but on the outer parts of downtown, on Housatonic Avenue, I know there's been some complaints also around Wells Street. For some reason, the last couple of months, there's just been an uptick in tractor trailers being parked along certain streets in Bridgeport. So we are trying to actively address that, with some of the tractor trailers that are being parked in and around the city. We did just last Friday graduate a class of 15 police officers. So that is good news. It will take some time before those officers are out on their own. They have to go through a 3-month field training program before they will be on their own. So that is giving us some resources, but I'm sure if you're not aware, we are experiencing a wave of retirements, as well as we are having some officers who are leaving to go to other departments. So we are trying to keep pace with that, with what's occurring with that. So we have introduced a recruiting campaign to recruit officers for our next police officers exam. Obviously, that is not something that's going to have any effect on our manpower right now, but hopefully within the next year or so, we will be able to give a test and hire more officers and get them on the streets. Some of the other things that we are working on with the DSSD for downtown, in addition to increasing our presence, one of the issues we face downtown is the homeless population and some vagrancy. So we are working with that. We are working with some social services agencies to help us address that. So we don't have to have police involvement. So we don't have to take any police action. So hopefully some of the social services agencies will be able to address some of the homeless population that congregates downtown, particularly around McCleavey Green, as well as some of the vagrancy of individuals just loitering in and around certain businesses. We are actively trying to address that. Other than that, we look forward to, as mentioned earlier, with the Amphitheater opening, and in some of our previous meetings, we've discussed when there's events at the Amphitheater that we want to also increase our presence downtown, because I think the hope is that individuals going to the Amphitheater will also frequent downtown. And we recognize the need to have an increased police presence downtown when that occurs. Other than that, if I have missed anything, I'll take some questions at this point.
Does anyone have any questions for Captain Porter? Any questions in the chat?
Nothing.
Okay. Okay, seeing no questions, thank you for joining us, Captain Porter, for the presentation.
Oh, thank you for having me. If there's anything in the future, we do have a good relationship with the DSSD. We attend Lauren's meeting on a regular. So if anything comes up, you can get us there. Or if you need to get a hold of me, you can call the police department at 581-5100, and they will connect you to me.
Excellent, thank you. The next item in the community presentations is a presentation on Hartford, Bridgeport, a review of our annual report, and preview of things to come, which Lauren is going to do.
Okay. All right. So I'll stand here and hopefully not mess this up. Okay. Well, welcome everyone. Again, thank you for those of you who have joined us on Zoom and here in person at the Bijou Theater. We're excited to be at least hybrid at this point. Exciting. We're on the way to getting back to normal. And I know Danny will come up in a little while and talk a bit more about reopening dates and things of that nature. But just wanted to say welcome and, give a little overview of the Downtown Special Services District. We serve 125 plus vibrant and multicultural businesses within our 30 blocks of our heart-shaped downtown. We do that in 3 primary ways with our Clean and Safe program, our downtown ambassadors who are out on the street every day, promoting downtown businesses through our platform, Colorful Bridgeport. I'll explain that in just a sec. And events and activations in public spaces like the downtown farmers markets and some of the mural projects we've been taking on. Colorful Bridgeport, for some of you who may not be as familiar with it, is a marketing platform that celebrates the full spectrum of downtown and its beautiful and vibrant people, streets, places, and spaces. As our neighborhood radiates with diversity and vibrancy from the food and drink, arts and entertainment venues, just like the Bijou Theater where we are today, and people of all walks of life, we celebrate those businesses, places, and spaces and highlight the positive impact that they have on the community, and we aim to drive new and returning customers to their physical and digital doors. I'd like to just take a pause. You'll see up here on the screen in very small font, but when you look at the annual report, you'll be able to see in much larger print. Our partners, we were very fortunate to have a very engaged board of commissioners, members of our very active and engaged members of our physical conditions, public safety, and special events and marketing committees, many of whom are here today and joining us digitally. We also have had great partners through the city and the police department who you've heard from, as well as dedicated residents who I hear from regularly, business owners who I also hear from regularly, and our many sponsors who continue to support this neighborhood through one of the most trying years, at least in my lifetime. And I'm sure for many others. And so I just wanted to start off by thanking everyone for their commitment and their show of support to this neighborhood and community. So can't do it without you. On that note, taking a quick look back. Okay. There were some very uncertain moments in this past year, and yet we were able to distribute $40,000 in direct grants and technical assistance toward COVID-19 reopening and recovery. I'd like to thank the team from Led by Us who were critical in that effort, as well as our investment partners, Avangrid and United Illuminating, the City of Bridgeport, People's United Bank Foundation, and PSEG for their investment and support of downtown businesses. I'd like to note that all of the businesses that received a downtown small business pandemic relaunch grant are still open and operating today. We also sent out over 50 business alerts with information about emergency operations, how to get support for your local business, and available disaster recovery resources, which we continue to do today. I'll be sending one out on Friday. We engaged almost 10,000 social media followers, which was a 26% increase from 2019. We interacted safely and following all sorts of COVID protocols with 7,385 visitors and business owners. We held 17 public events and again, safely interacted with an estimated 4,000 attendees. We initiated 3 public murals, 2 of which are getting unveiled this summer, so please stay tuned. We maintained 51 planters and 3 public spaces, beautifying the downtown in lots of different ways. We removed, and by we, I mean the ambassador team, so please thank them if you see them out on the street. Removed 8,000 bags of trash, instances of graffiti, and bills or stickers. And finally, as I mentioned, we partnered with 42 city and local organizations on projects and daily activities. We very much do this together. So thank you to everyone for all of their effort and support. As we reemerge from the pandemic, we're committed even more than before to support our local businesses, cultural and community organizations, residents, and visitors. Our stability and success will be a point of hope and a bright light as the city rebuilds, as well as the nation. So wrapping it up, I just want to give you a little preview of what we have coming up. There's always more to do and get excited about. We will be activating the street with Color Quest and the Color Walk. You'll be seeing brightly colored stickers on the ground, pointing out special places all around the downtown and to learn about them. The Bijou is one of those. We are refreshing the plantings at the Broad Street steps and McClevey Green, Bank Street, and up along Main Street, so please look out for that. We're proud to note that all of our plantings are native pollinators, so you'll be seeing more butterflies and other friendly bugs that contribute to our food system. We will be installing Build Back colorful banners on decorative light poles. You'll see featured local faces, places, and sponsors, so contact us for details if you're interested. And then events, in terms of events, we have, events are coming back. It's very exciting. I'll just run through a few. On May 19th, there's a Pachakacha storytelling night. On May 23rd at the Arcade Mall and City Lights Gallery will be Artcade, an art design and home decor event. On June 3rd, we'll be right back here at the Bijou for a screening of the Jane and Lorraine's Walk film. And then we'll do a neighborhood tour on foot and on bicycle on Saturday, June 5th. We'll kick off the downtown farmers market season on Thursday, July 8th, and we'll go through October 14th. Every Thursday from 10:30 to 2 at McClevey Green. And then we'll hear more about this during our public safety committee update, but we'll be hosting another coffee with a cop in July, building on the success of what took place a few weeks ago. And then we'll be kicking off an event called Parking Day, which we did a couple years ago, but on September 17th, where we activate public parking spaces. And I would just encourage you to check out the Bijou's spring, summer, and fall lineup. As Gary mentioned, there's a lot of exciting stuff going on here. Lastly, we have some print pieces to look out for, that our annual report being one of them. You'll see new maps in poster size outside of the train station, identifying downtown businesses and cultural institutions and other assets. And we'll be rolling out a new business welcome packet that provides detailed information about how your business can grow and thrive in the downtown. So as Phil mentioned, please join us in any way you wish. Attend a board meeting, join a program committee, reach out to me, follow us on social media at Colorful Bridgeport. In any way, we would love to engage. And I'll just wrap it up by just one more thank you again to all of the stakeholders who supported and invested in our downtown over the past year. The best is yet to come, and we look forward to building back colorful with you all this year and beyond.
Thanks, Lauren. Definitely a challenging year, and you led us all through it. Next is the announcement of the results from the election, and Bob joining us back at the table, so I think that means we have results.
Yes, we do have the results. There are 73 voting parcels, which is 54% of the properties in the district. So it's an official election. And I'm happy to say that Carolyn Egbert, Eric Gross, and David Ayasaga each received 73 votes each, and a unanimous approval. Congratulations to the new commission.
Thanks, Bob. Next is the adoption of our annual schedule of regular meetings. We typically meet on the second Wednesday of each month from 4 to 5 p.m. roughly. When we're in person, we're at the DSSD office at 930 Broad Street. We will be, I think, over Zoom for the foreseeable future. The meeting dates are July 14, August 11, September 8, October 13, November 10, December 8, January 12th, 2022, February 9th, 2022, March 9th, 2022, April 13th, 2022, May 11th, 2022, and June 8th, 2022. Is there any discussion on the schedule of regular meetings? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, our schedule is approved. Next item is the treasurer's report. We have our treasurer, Eric Gross, to lead us through the financials and then our proposed annual budget. A lot.
Thank you. So the first portion of my report has to do with the fiscal year 2020 and the audit and finances. They were done by Sloan Friedberg.
Correct.
That's their last
Right.
year.
Mhm.
And we ended up with the fiscal year with assets totaling 132,584, liabilities of 5,498, and a fund balance of $82,086. We had for the fiscal year revenue of $620,937 and expenses $606,601. Most of which were devoted to, as it is in past years, streetscape, marketing, creative placemaking, brokering. So we ended up with net revenue at the end of the fiscal year of $14,336. Next portion of our report deals with the monthly financial report, which is a snapshot and it gives us a general picture of what's what, but as if you're at meetings, you realize that there's a lag time here, and so some of these figures, which are probably boring to everybody out there, but not to us, don't reflect exactly where we will end up. We had in the month of March assets of $61,317, liabilities of $31,353, and net assets of $29,964. I can tell you that at the end of the year, we will, based on, unless there's some kind of terrible disaster, we will be under budget, which we have been very careful in a very difficult year to do, and I think we'll be fine. We have a revenue statement as of March 31. We've got a accrued revenue of $397,936, most of which came from tax payments from the city, and expenses are $450,057, which includes costs relating to administration of the organization. As I said, it looks like we're in the red, but at the end of the year, we won't be. This is just accrual. So that takes care of that. With respect to changes in the grand list, there have been some. We have one property added to our grand list in 2020, which represents a 1% increase in the total number of parcels from 173 to 174. And the district taxable parcel increase in total assessed value went up. There's been a 4% increase in that. So that will generate a teeny little bit more of income next year, depending on what happens with tax appeals that may be coming down in connection with revamp. So where are we going for fiscal year 2021 and 2022? We have a proposed annual budget. It covers our fiscal year from July 1, 2021 to June 30th, 2022. Just so you know, our process began in March, where we had recommendations and input gathering from the DSSD's 3 program-related committees. is Finance, which met on March 31 to draft the fiscal year's annual budget. It was reviewed then by the Executive Committee and the Board of Commissioners at our April meeting. With respect to revenue, we have three primary sources, and those are, as I stated earlier in the report, the property tax assessment, which includes all taxable property and tax incentive agreement parcels, sponsorship of events and programs, and grants. Majority of the revenue here, $650,970 in fiscal 2022 for DSC operations will come from property tax assessments located within our district. This is the result of the payment of the 3 mills on top of the regular property tax bill, which is invested directly in our district. Expenses, DSSD, are basically 3 direct programs, which total approximately 70% of all of my budgeted expenses. The sources of that direct programming is a mix of property tax assessments and fundraising sources. We have expenses of streetscape maintenance, which is the category that pertains to all our contracted services, the materials and supplies for our ambassador program, which of course ensures our continued daily environmental maintenance and management of our beautification projects. The contracted services that we have also include, of course, public safety, hospitality, and event support, and the installation of banners, which you see throughout our downtown district. We have marketing expenses. That represents 9% of the budget, and this includes our contracted services for beautification and marketing campaigns. It also includes costs associated with maintenance of our digital communication platform, as well as the cost to produce and print our various print materials. And I just, for a point of personal privilege, I think that that has been a big plus for us over the last 2 years, that both our digital presence and the marketing brochures that we have been much better than they have been in the past. And I think that's a big help for us. So on expenses, we have, for other operating expenses, these items represent shared and administrative costs necessary to support direct programming expenses, President and CEO's compensation, professional services like accounting and auditing, rent and insurance, and membership. Net revenue are expenses for direct programming and other operating costs, which will total, we expect, $637,846, and our revenues are expected to exceed our total expenses by about $13,000. We will be in the black next year as well if we adhere to this budget.
Yep.
And I guess that's my report.
Okay, Lauren, can you go back to just the prior slide, the treasurer's report? So is there any discussion on the treasurer's report? And just for the March 2021 financials? Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve treasurer's report. Second.
Okay. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, our March 2021 financial report from the treasurer is approved. We also need to vote on the 2022 proposed annual budget. Is there any discussion on the budget?
I would just like to make a comment. The comment is that I think the committee and Lauren did a terrific job putting the budget together, and the presentation is very clear. And I would like to note for the record that, mid-year last year with COVID, we made a budget adjustment, and I think that was instrumental in helping us stay within our budget, even with the impact that we have. So, good job. Thank you.
Thanks, Kim, I agree.
Yeah, good team effort.
Further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the budget is approved. Next item is election of officers for the coming year, taking effect July 1, 2021. We have 4 officer positions: chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. I'll start by opening up for nominations for chair.
I'd like to nominate Phil Pierce for chair.
Second.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you. I'm happy to continue serving. If anybody else is ever interested, let me know. But I'm happy to continue serving. It's great working with Warren, and I'm very happy to have her supporting me. It makes my job very easy. Next is vice chair, and I'd like to nominate Kim Workway for vice chair. Kim has been very helpful to me as the prior chair, serving as vice chair, and I'd like him to continue doing that if he's willing.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Any other nominations? Any objection from Kim? Seeing none of any of those, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Next for secretary, I'd like to nominate Bob Schneider. Bob has a great deal of institutional knowledge for the organization. He's involved in our elections committee. He is able to serve on the board ex officio because we've had him as our secretary, and I think it'd be helpful to the organization to allow him to continue in that position. So I would nominate him for secretary. Any further nominations? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, Bob's confirmed as secretary. For treasurer, I'd like to nominate Eric Gross, and in case there's any question about why, we just saw the presentation that he gave, which was very thorough, and I don't think everybody else wants to do that. So I'd like to nominate Eric. He's been very helpful on the finance committee and executive committee as treasurer, and I appreciate him continuing that position. Okay, any further discussion? Any further nominations? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, Eric's approved as treasurer. So we have a slate of officers for the coming year. The next item is the report from the city. I think Danny's still here. I don't, is there anything else for Danny to address?
Did you want to
Yeah, I can-
come on up to the microphone if you don't mind?
I'm sure that Mr. Chairman,
The folks on Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, that's fine. Just watch out for the boards and stuff.
Thanks. Tom Gill covered the city report this evening, and I just wanted to add one or two short items. The opening, as Lauren said, is coming along nicely. The state of Connecticut has over 70% of adults vaccinated now. All the applicable numbers are going down, and not only a light at the end of the tunnel, the light's getting brighter every day. And we look forward to next week, things opening up even more. The state will inform us exactly what that's going to entail, but we're hopeful it's another step to get things back to normal. I did want to mention over the last couple of years, I've been keeping the DSSD up to date regarding the airport. Last week there was a an announcement out of Tweed, I'm sure everybody's aware of. And following that announcement, the following day, we held a meeting between the Bridgeport team, folks from the state, to assess the situation with Tweed and what effect it may have on our plans with Sikorsky. I'm happy. I was happy to hear certain members involved with transportation on a state level encouraged us to continue. I did have an opportunity to speak with representatives of the airline that has been with us originally, and I asked them point blank if the Tweed announcement had any effect on their interest in Sikorsky, and the answer was no. So that was encouraging as well. We are hopeful to receive a $2.2 million grant from the Airport Improvement Program that's being advocated by Jim Himes, and so far so good with that. And we are still awaiting release of the $7 million in bond money that was previously approved, that's being held up in Hartford, which is imperative with any of the plans that we're looking to do at Sikorsky. That is step one. So that's the latest on that.
Is there any reason, do you know what the holdup is in Hartford on that set?
As far as the state, with the $7 million was approved with the condition of private investment, which the airline was going to provide when we bought our plans to the FAA roughly a year and a half ago and submitted our 10-year compliance plan, very similar to what other airports are doing. We were told that although the FAA claimed to be supportive, they had a policy that airports that are initiating passenger service need to be fully compliant in order for that to take place. So we of course, the airline told us at that point, you need to give us a date, and when you know when this is going to be happening, then we can re-engage. Meanwhile, the runway that needs refurbishing is on its last leg, and that's exactly what the $7 million is for from the state. So we've petitioned the governor to relax the condition that private investment needs to be up front, and we're hopeful for a response soon to take care of that runway. And by taking care of that runway, it enables us to move forward. Otherwise, the clock doesn't start until that happens.
Any other questions for Danny? Anything in the chat?
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Danny. Thanks for joining us. Next, we have the president's report.
Yes, we can skip this. Yeah, nothing new.
All right, everything covered in the presentation. Next, we have reports of standing and special committees. For the executive committee, we met on May 5th, a week ago. We went over the event plan for today and the various aspects of the meeting and presentations. Physical conditions. Chris?
Yeah. guess I can speak from here, is that okay?
Yeah.
Hello, we've been on fiscal conditions committee met on Friday, April 30th. I was not able to attend the meeting, so if I missed anything, you already have to tell them. But what was discussed was the planting schedule for upcoming spring plantings, and also the getting SMD, our new downtown ambassador vendor, up to speed, how to get them, to merge in and phase out the black by black vendor. And then I believe it was last Thursday that Lauren did a walkthrough with a couple of management personnel from SMG. We walked the entire downtown and some of the property in there, so it looks like that process is moving along.
Great.
The security committee, we held a very successful coffee with the cop on March 26th. Captain Porter covered even more than I would say about the security, but I would just like to thank them. They've been a tremendous partner to us over the last long period of time. They've been very engaged lately, and I think we see the success of that downtown.
Thanks, Steve. Special events and marketing.
Committee met on Tuesday, May 4th, and committee members, as we usually do, provided updates on their various activities. I should note that we have several committee members that are leaders of arts organizations and involved in the arts community. And so they've always got interesting and active things to update the committee on. Banana Land gave their report on social media and metrics. We had a discussion about the next social media focus and programs that we're working on. Maura mentioned a few of them in her presentation. And then we had a discussion about 2 upcoming events that will be taking place in June and September, which are Jane Rains Walk and Parking Day.
Thanks, Tim. Zone Bridgeport, that committee did not meet? Okay. Any items of old business to discuss? Any items of new business? Just want to thank Lauren. I think this was a difficult meeting to organize, and I think you did a great job.
Thank you.
So, I think nice to be back in person, for some of it at least. Okay, seeing no items of new business, I'll call for an adjournment. And we'll adjourn at what time?
6:13.
Motion to adjourn, in a second. All right, 6:13, we'll adjourn. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.